We are so excited that you're about to listen to the Cultivate OKC podcast. The podcast is a product of the Cultivate OKC Venture Accelerator. Our hope is that Oklahoma City will become famous for an atmosphere of flourishing. We believe in a courageous and connected movement of entrepreneurs leading redemptive ventures will play an outsized role in that story. Today's episode is a chapter in that story. Now let's jump in.
Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Cultivate OKC. We are here to equip entrepreneurs, for-profit, nonprofit, to create a redemptive community in their culture. My name is Tracy, and I am part of the team, and I have with me today the wonderful, the amazing, the all-powerful, the super hugger extraordinaire, Miss Shanita Jefferson. Shanita, thanks for joining me today.
I'm so happy to be here too.
Man, Shanita brings energy. She is so fun. We went to a women's luncheon and Shanita raised the bar because everybody was sitting quietly listening to the speaker, and Shanita's like, come on. Oh, that's good stuff. It was great. It was great. It's what that group needed. So I loved it. I loved it. What's going on in your world today, Miss Shanita?
Oh, well, the kids are out of school, so that's kind of nice. Planning on spending some time with them this afternoon, like walking around the mall or something. And that's about all that's going on. I got a few meetings
listeners.
Today.
Okay. Yeah. Meetings. You got to work with the kids in the background. Listeners, I don't know when you're listening to us, but it is fall of 2021 and all the kids are out of school for a short little fall break. And it's 10 a.m. and my senior is still asleep, and I'm going to let him sleep. So I'm being the nice mom and letting him sleep in. So there you go. So I'm so excited to introduce our guest to you all today. We have Mr. Tim Pace of TPC Construction. Tim, thanks for taking some time
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Yeah, that's exciting. I wish you guys could see Tim. He's kind of a giant of a man, but he's super sweet and soft. He's one of those guys that could be intimidating when you see him, but once you start talking to him, he's not intimidating. Do you think he's intimidating, Shanita?
No, big old teddy bear.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's it. That's it. So, Tim, tell us something unique about you and something that made you smile recently.
Oh, I was thinking about this before we started, and I think one of the things that I thought about was that I married my high school sweetheart. Her name is Kyla, and we have 4 amazing children, 2 girls and 2 boys, and that my family is truly my world. And so that's something that made me smile. As I sent them off, they're not on fall break today. They're doing their normal co-op, which they love, and we homeschool our family. So we have a house full of life and nonstop kids, and I have a home office. So everything is intermeshed, and we just love it. So
Nice. Marry your high school sweetheart. That's unique.
I think so.
That's unique. I love that. So what age were you guys when you started dating?
I was 18. I was a senior. She was a junior, and she was 17. And we actually met on a ski trip and a high school youth group. We had 150 people in our high school youth group. So since we were different ages, that was big enough to kind of get lost in, and you didn't know everybody. So I didn't know her for a year, and then we went on a trip my senior year on a ski trip. So we went with probably 30 or 40. It got real small at that point, and that's where I met her. And we started dating in January of 2020, my senior year, and dated all through college, and for both her and I, and dated for 5.5 years, and then we got married. So.
Wait, you said you started dating in January of 2020.
2000,
right?
Sorry. Correct.
There you go. I was like, wait a minute. Well, your math isn't adding up. Okay, so 20 years. Been together 20 years. That's a long time.
Yep.
That's great. Oh, I love that. I think people should get awards for every so many years that you stay married, because marriage is hard.
And it's tough in these days to stay together and work through those issues and keep going. So.
Yeah, they should literally have like a celebration month for marriages. Like,
Seriously, Hallmark would sell a lot of cards if they had celebrate. Yeah, come on, Hallmark, you listening to us? You listening to us? Get out there. We've invented a new holiday for you. Oh, that's great.
I guess I do have a couple questions for you, Tim. We're curious to know, tell us about your venture and what sets it apart from other, or ventures in your industry.
Okay. I fell in love with my industry back whenever I was in high school. And so it's been a long time coming. And so I'm in construction and development. And so I got a degree in construction management from Oklahoma State right after going to high school. And I fell in love with my industry. It was just the people. There was a lot of need for the Lord, and I was on fire for Jesus, and I wanted to change my world and I wanted to change my industry. And so that's kind of what led me into it. And then as I grew into my company, as I grew into my trade and my craft, I worked for several really good companies throughout Oklahoma City and really started to develop my skills and my love for the city, love for the work that I do. I'm a commercial general contractor, so we built commercial buildings. And then as part of that, we do land development. So we work with architects and engineers and all sorts of different subcontractors and suppliers. And, we keep enough work going here in the state of Oklahoma and right here really in the city and the surrounding areas that it's all relationship driven. And so that's what I learned, was that relationship drives everything that we do. And so whether that be, the team members that we have, the employees that we have, the clients that we have, we're in a small, big city, I say, in Oklahoma City. And so your word gets around really fast. So, if you don't pay your bills or you don't treat people right or you don't do good things, the word travels quickly, even in a big city. And so I learned really quickly from several mentors and the people that I worked with before I started my company, just about doing the right thing, treating people with integrity, really doing your work with excellence. And I think I carried that into my company whenever I got the chance to start it. And I started my company. We founded TPC Construction. It's just short for 10 Pace Custom Construction in 2009. So we've been in business for about 12 years. And it kind of came after the 08-09 recession hit, and the economy kind of got shaked a lot. And so here in Oklahoma City, and everything slowed down and a lot of work stopped. And so I just felt the Lord lead me at that time to do my own thing. And he just said, hey, if you'll trust me, if you can start out in a recession and do this, whenever things get good and things get better, he's like, you'll have the foundation and the principles to know how to do the right thing. And so we started small, and it was based on those principles that we just described, just treating people right, doing the right thing, honoring your word, and just doing your work with excellence. And for me, God blessed that. And so our first year in business, we did exactly what I wanted to, which was just to replace my salary. I started my company in May of 2009. And so my goal was really just to replace my salary that I'd lost from working for another company through the end of the year. And he did that. And then the next year, I almost quadrupled my income. And I just thought, wow, that's you, God. That's not me. And that was just living out those principles that we talked about. And so my company takes just really clients' ideas from start to finish. And so we build anything really that anybody wants to do. And so we've had projects in oil and gas. We've had projects in manufacturing and retail. We do a lot of medical and dental spaces, build outs and finish outs and brand new ground up. Got to do multiple subdivisions, developments for housing, commercial office parks. And so with our team, we take all the best of Oklahoma City, what I think, the best in class architects and engineers and subcontractors and suppliers. And we just kind of are like a maestro and an orchestra, and we, as a GC, and we pull those together to create a great experience for our client and to give them a great finished product, something that they can be proud of, something that they can live in every day with their clients and their employees, and fulfill their passion and their dream for what they do every day. And so, like I said, a lot of ours are medical and dental recently. So we have a lot of really good professional relationships in that industry right now. But we do all sorts of different projects. It doesn't have to just be that area. We take the same level of service and expertise to any business that we do and work with. And so
I have one more. I was thinking as you were talking, Tim, like about like young Tim, like 10-year-old Tim or like 12-year-old Tim. And did you always know that that was like a gift, or did you always know that was something that you wanted to do?
I don't know that at that age that it was. I think I probably developed that more in my high school years. My real dad, I have a stepfather too, but my real dad was kind of a craftsman. And so he worked at a cabinet shop. And so sometimes there's a part of me that feels like maybe it's part of my blood, that the people or the trades or the crafts or just the handiwork and being able to do that. He worked for a large company that's no longer in business. It was Oklahoma Fixture Company. And they manufactured the big glass cases, like you were talking about going shopping at the mall. They made all the fixtures for like Mervyn's and Dillard's and in the mall, those glass showcases and the really high-end fixtures and finishes, the changing rooms and stuff. And so he worked for a big company in Tulsa that did that. And so I think I knew about it. I was around it. I kind of understood it. So in high school, I took cabinet making and wood shop in high school, and it just kind of clicked. Like I loved it. I love building things with my hands. I love to tinker. And so I think all that stuff, the tinkering and everything started early. Probably was the Lincoln Log kid and, the Lego kid and blow things up kid, kind of a thing. Just that love to do things with my hands and loved being outdoors too. So I think that plays a lot into my industry because so much of my job, takes me all over the place, all over the city, all over the state. I get to be inside and outside. We get to build in all weather, which can have its challenges in its own. And so, yeah, but that's probably when it started for me. It probably was bred early in me at that 10 age and as a kid, but, really cultivated for me in my kind of high school and college years. So.
That's a great question, Shanita. I'm picturing little 10-year-old Tim building things with Legos and then crashing through it, just destroying it. Oh, I love the picture that you gave of the maestro. I think that's a great illustration of what you do, and just all those moving pieces, but doing that with relationship being the basis of it, and integrity, because integrity is something that's rare. And I don't want to say it's even rarer in the contractor segment, but just like you said, keeping your word, when you say somebody's going to be there at a certain time to work on a certain thing, that happens. And clearly sometimes things happen, but just being honest and upfront, and I don't know, that's something really unique about you. So thank you, Tim. Thank you for holding that standard.
And I think what's rare in our industry is there's a lot of people that lead companies and value statements with integrity. And it's kind of a false integrity. And the hard part about my industry is that most of my jobs, some of them are 12 to 18 month projects, and you can't hide integrity over 12 to 18 months. And, you find out who people really are, who the team really is, how they face adversity, how they handle financial situations, because that's a long time. And, one of the things that I think is most important about our industry and why the relationships are so important to me is because great relationships are built on strong communication and trust. Well, a lot of our clients don't know me from Adam when they get referred to me. So we have to start that trust building process from day one. And it takes a while. And it takes a while for someone to sit down and sign a 7-figure plus contract with you too, when they don't know you that well, because that's when they do. And so, you have to really have a solid reputation in order to get your foot in the door to get to that place where they have the trust to even be in those conversations. But then, and that's your reputation. And that's where that working with excellence comes in. And the quality of work and the finished product and the other doctors that have shared or the other clients that have shared with those people, that referral, that gets you the meetings, that gets you the conversations. But then the process starts whenever you get to have these one-on-one conversations, even like we're having now. And then ultimately it's a leap of faith, or it's a step of faith for us to work together, And for me, that's a huge sign of honor and respect for someone to sign a contract with me and say, I trust you now. And it goes, that elevates me to a place where I have to prove myself now. Like, you've trusted me. Now I'm going to show you what I told you I would do and live that out day in and day out. And so that's what we do with our team, and so, and our goal at the end of our projects is, whether they're 3-month projects, 6-month projects, or 12 or 18-month projects, or longer, is to get to the finish of every project and have a friend and have a relationship with that client that's stronger than it was the day we started, and to hopefully earn their trust and their referral for the next client as we go down the road. And so, and that helps you through all those situations, and that helps you live out that integrity that you have to live out in order to stay in business in this small, big city. So.
Absolutely. Well, and it's those everyday small decisions that you make with integrity that add up to that relationship, that add up to that reputation, that allows you to have the success that you've had, So thank you again. Thank you for being a man of your word.
Thank you. And part of that's making mistakes. When you make a mistake, that integrity is going back and repairing that, and, or doing your best to repair that. If something happened on a project or that relationship, got stressed along the way, and it can be happen from many variables, sometimes even outside of the project, create those variables and stuff. But, that's life. And that's just, that's what we deal with our families and everybody else. And it gives us a chance to also bring, God into the equation and our faith, and allows us to live out our values and who we are, and set ourselves apart. And I think whenever Shindy asked me kind of like what sets myself apart, is I think that's what we want to be as a contractor, a general contractor, a developer, is that kind of person to kind of take some of the negative stigmas away from the construction experience. There's so many of those negative experiences where people have been burned, and, they make the news, or the news in your corner, headlines. And we don't ever want to be that. We want to reverse that or be the opposite of that. And so, and give the industry in itself a good light. So.
Well, it comes down to putting people first and building relationships. And that's what you started with. So there you go. Awesome. We want to take a quick moment to thank our partners, Praxis Labs out of New York and Flourish OKC. Praxis is a creative engine for redemptive entrepreneurship, supporting founders, funders, and innovators motivated by their faith to love their neighbors and to renew culture. Flourish OKC is a collection of experiences, storytelling, and educational exchanges that explore value they want to see cultivated in Oklahoma City, including education, restorative justice, and resettling refugees. Cultivate OKC would not exist without our amazing partners, and we thank them. Now let's jump back into the podcast. So, Tim, we're a little bit more than halfway through with the Cultivate OKC Accelerator program. You're in our very first cohort. So tell us, what has been your ROI? How has Cultivate been beneficial to you and to TPC?
Yeah. One, I think, is just how I've been really touched by how genuine the Cultivate experience has been. That God's hand has been on it, that there's been such blessing. When we started the journey, I think there was no syllabus. None of us knew exactly what we were getting into and going through. And so I had no frame of reference for where the journey was going to take me. And so as we've gone through it, it's taken me down paths that I didn't think I would go down. And I love that sometimes, because that's how I love God stretches you. And I think that's what it is. I mean, Cultivate is an accelerator, maybe not so much of the, accelerator in the financial raising funds and those kind of terms, but I mean, it's an accelerator. And the idea is to get our business from one place to another, but it's not just in the ROI of money phase, and so for me in this industry, it can often be that win-lose situation with everything that we're doing. And so, part of the framework of it is, for me, is understanding moving from, that ethical, where we do things the right way, we do things, to the redemptive, where we're actually bringing life and faith in God into our industry and really making a difference for the kingdom. And I've always struggled with how you do that in your business, because it is, in my business, that a lot of times it's very transactional. And so it's get from point A to point B and finish a product, and it's a tangible type thing. And so, but because we are touched by so many relationships and we do have so many connections with so many people through the process, I mean, we might interact with several hundred people, in the course of a project, different people, everything from delivery drivers to engineers to architects to teams to employees to staff to clients, to laborers in the field, of all races, of all ethnicities, and to have that opportunity to experience that, to not understand that there's a purpose in that beyond just the project. And if we miss that, and we don't take it to the relational side, and we don't take it to the fact that every human being that we touch with our company, with our experience and our journey over those 3, 6, 12, 18 months, has a greater purpose beyond just finishing a project or getting a paycheck. And so for me, that has elevated the bar for me. Whereas 12 years in, I felt like there was a little bit of, maybe sometimes even a little bit of burnout, pre-Cultivate when I started, trying to figure out, okay, is this all there is? Is it just project after project after project? And so, leaning into Cultivate, it's given me that passion back, and to go that there is something greater than this. There's a purpose, whether it's building that staff and scaling our company to grow, now we're going to be making a difference in more employees' lives, and we're going to be, helping them change their families' lives. And then, and then more business for clients to serve the community, and growing more opportunities for us to provide a great customer experience and a client experience for more doctors or more medical professionals or whoever we work with in the industry. So, and so I think that's probably.
Okay. So you mentioned that you didn't come in to Cultivate with the idea of raising funds, because other ventures are in that place where they want to get connected with investors, but that's not where you were. But do you feel like you found some clarity? I remember when you came in, you had some big decisions to make in which direction your business was going to go. Was Cultivate helpful and helping you with that and redefining what your business was going to look like in the future?
I think yes, because when I joined Cultivate, there was an opportunity for me we had actually started and incorporated another company, and it was a real estate investment company, and we actually did it in 2019, late 2019, and then so we were actually going to be raising funds, and we were going to be doing real estate investment ventures and using investor money and capital to do more work, specifically in office buildings and multifamily investments. We do that as well. We have multiple multifamily ventures that we own and operate. And so we've been doing that for about 6 or 7 years. And so we wanted to bring some people alongside us. So, but then 2020 hit, and specifically February of 2020 hit. And when COVID hit, it derailed, all the ideas for us, or tabled a lot of them, for the idea of raising funds and capital when everybody's trying to hang on to capital, at least for a startup wanting to do that. Established companies were still able to do it, but, and so God gave me a pause there. And so, but we leaned into the vision throughout most of that year, but just tabled a lot of our ventures and projects. So we were in kind of the idea of partnering and raising money, and that was forming out a framework for a whole nother venture. And I was trying to look at, well, I can't really run both of these well. And so we would have to scale the construction company with employees and staff, or move away from that and focus more on the real estate investment side. And so, whenever I got invited to be a part of the Cultivate venture, it was kind of a crossroads of, where am I going? Which venture am I going to focus more of my energies and efforts for? And so I really had to lean into, over the past few months, of looking at well, where's the Lord working? Where is he doing the work already? Where has he paved a path already for me to do the work that he wants me to do? And it became more clear as we went through the journey that the construction company was already where he was working. and already where he was doing. I had the network, I had the foundation, we had the financial resources. We're a for-profit company, so I mean, we had work already. Whereas a lot of the other one was, speculative ventures or looking and finding deals and then bringing people into those. And so, since that was probably a much bigger uphill climb, and we realized that really the Lord could accelerate faster the business that we were in if we focused and buckled down and just kind of focused our efforts on, the construction company alone. And so, and that's really just been a clarity actually probably in the past just couple of weeks. I mean, I went on a trip to Florida, and part of that before I left was, some of the mentors challenged me to really ask myself some really important questions about, why and doing certain things. And so I leaned into that, and I asked myself some hard questions and sought some counsel from other people, including my wife, who's been with me through this whole journey and beyond. And really where we saw the most fruit and the most opportunity, and to continue doing God's work and to continue using the gifts that we have. And so we've leaned into that. So I think Cultivate really helped me define that for myself. Where we're headed. And so we're excited about that as we leave. It kind of framed the vision for, when we wrap up. I mean, and, we're already kind of like doing our 2022 goals, and thinking about those and the planning and stuff. And so, whereas I probably would have shifted that towards the other company a lot more before, it's kind of, we've tabled all that and just kind of let that, go to the back burner. And we're focusing mainly on the construction company vision and venture and values and so that we can move forward with that and grow that. So.
That's great. I'm so glad that you're able to find clarity, because it's hard to move in a direction when you don't know which direction you're going, right? You need to know what you're doing. And that's something, Shanita, I've been super impressed with the mentors that have been brought in, just the level of expertise and the tools that they provide, and helping people like Tim to be able to, okay, well, let's think through this, let's break this down, let's peel back some layers and look at it. And just the fact that the mentors are so available, that everybody gets their phone numbers, their emails, you can call them anytime and get connected. And these are some pretty seriously talented humans. Do you agree, Shanita?
Oh my gosh. I had no idea when Cultivate first started, the weight of, the opportunity, and what was going to actually happen, like we'd planned it out, but organically so much beauty, and so much, it gets so deep, and so definitely the mentors have been awesome. And it's just, I don't know. I'm in awe of, where Cultivate has come, just from vision into fruition,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The mentors have been hands down the kind of the driving force, I think, for Cultivate. I mean, you guys are the team. You guys have set the table. But to bring those people in, I mean, every week, those have been really life-changing for me in my venture, because one of the things that I always have kind of said is, when you're, we're a small company, we don't have a lot of employees or anything, but, when you're the boss or the founder, you're at the top, you really don't have a lot of people to turn to whenever you need direction on where you're going, or when you don't know what you don't know about business or those next steps. And so to have somebody come in and speak and talk about specific topics, but I mean, more so the one-on-ones that we got to do, or the breakout sessions where you got to pick the mentor and spend that 30 minutes one-on-one with them, where you could ask them anything. I mean, that was just invaluable to be able to do that. And one of the things that was neat was there wasn't even some mentors. There was actually a person or two that came up to me at some of the group speakings where we invited people in from outside. And they came up and introduced themselves to me and gave me a business card and said, "I'm so-and-so. I loved your presentation. If you ever need anything or we could talk, we could do that." And I've been able to arrange outside meetings with those people and go spend time having coffee with someone for an hour and just glean wisdom from them and start that, So I feel like Cultivate, in some ways, it was like everything wasn't answered in the journey, but it's just like cultivating with a farmer or anybody else. It was like there was seeds planted and that some of those seeds start to sprout. And then we won't see where some of those will sprout, some of them until well after Cultivate, is some of those relationships kind of bloom and grow. And that's kind of where I feel like some of those things are. There's lots of little seeds all over, having that phone number for this mentor. Maybe I didn't get to spend a lot of time with them and get a lot of clarity and answers, but they've given me their cell phone number, and I've got it written down that I need to reach out to them specifically and set up a time for an area where they're really good at, or they'll come back and do that. So, or even somebody was like, hey, I don't have something for you in the one-on-one, but I feel led to share this connection with you, and I'm going to connect you with this person, and we're going to go to lunch and do something because I think I'm a connector and I think this person needs to be in your life. I mean, just having that, allowing God to flow through that in those mentor times, it's just, those are things that you can't plan. Those are like ordained things. Those are those divine intervention experiences. And I love that. I love seeing God move in a way. And so, and through Cultivate, he's done that. He's done that through the mentors. He's done that through the quiet times, that we've had, or the devotional times, and or even just the sharing times, the bonding and the closeness that we've been able to have with the individual cohort members, where I didn't know any of them from Adam whenever we moved in here. And it's just like, and then how we've been able to connect and develop relationships and even kind of co-mentor each other outside of along in each other's journeys. And is really neat. It's just, there's a lot of beauty in that. And that's given me a lot of joy being a part of that, all the little things that you can't plan that just show up and happen. So.
Mm. Well, I'm going to give a shout out to Tim because Tim inadvertently has been a mentor to several of the other fellows in his cohort. There's some other construction people. There's some other people that are working on building projects, or even one of the other nonprofits has been like, Tim's been so helpful. So thank you for giving back amongst your peers. Yeah. So what do you want to leave us with today, Tim? What is your motivational statement? What, if you wanted to leave anything with our listeners today, if you wanted to stick a kitty cat poster on their wall, what would that poster say?
And I just encourage any listeners to just challenge themselves to move beyond themselves and let God in. And so even through, if you have a chance to hear this and consider something like Cultivate and, apply or be a part of it, I would say do it, because there's, challenge yourself to stretch yourself and let God in and let him do what only he can. And so, I love that because, if you can let God into your business more and get you out of it more, just amazing things happen. And there's just a peace and a joy that comes with, yielding to him and stepping aside and doing that and making a difference because, we spend our whole lives, or the biggest bulk of it on our work, out in whatever we do. And so we need to do it with excellence, and we need to do it with a greater purpose beyond just making money and fulfilling our own personal gain. And so, so that's kind of my motivational challenge to listeners, is just to let God in and step outside and maybe pursue something like this and see what he has in store for you, and not so much for you, but through you for other people out in the world and the community around you.
Oh, I love that. Move beyond yourself, because it's not about me, right? If we're focusing on relationships with other people, it's not going to be about me. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for taking the time today. I hope you get to enjoy your quiet house while all the other humans are gone for a while, that you can get some work done or maybe just have a quiet moment. So thank you again for joining us. Shanita, thank you again for being my co-host today. It's always fun when you're around. You bring sunshine.
Thank you. And thanks, Tim. I always love hearing about TPC. And I definitely will be, networking for you.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Yes, that's always happening in the background, right? We're making connections, for connections. That's awesome. Well, listeners, thank you again for joining us for another Cultivate OKC podcast episode. We are all about creating a redemptive culture in Oklahoma City. If you are an entrepreneur for-profit, nonprofit, we would love to talk to you more about what we do and how we can help you. Shanita, you want to give our URL real quick?
Yes, if you need information about Cultivate, go to www.cultivate.city.
Awesome. Or you can email me directly. I'm Tracy, Tracy, at cultivate.city. So just like Tim said, step beyond yourself today. Think about other people today. Find one person today that you can get out there, that you can do something that will help them flourish, not just today, not just tomorrow, but down the road. So get beyond yourself and go help somebody flourish today.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cultivate OKC podcast. We are committed to helping everyone in OKC flourish, not just the privileged, connected, or credentialed, but everyone. That is why we exist, to nurture and multiply that movement. If you're an entrepreneur of a nonprofit or a for-profit and would like to learn more about the Cultivate Venture Accelerator, go to www.cultivate.city for more information. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of Cultivate OKC.